Welcome to a special edition of Inside Boxing Weekly, brought to you by the Retired Boxers Foundation and MyBookie.ag. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and today we have a special edition. Today's guest scored the upset of the year almost 2 weeks ago as he upset champion James DeGale in England. Please help me welcome to the show the new IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, Caleb Truax. How you doing, Caleb?
I'm doing good, Mike. Thanks for having me, man.
You could probably never get tired of hearing "and the new," can you?
Hey, I just keep on asking people to say it one more time for me whenever they do.
All right. So I've read that you were an excellent football, baseball player in high school, and that you actually went to Virginia State to play football.
Yeah, I went to college to play football and ended up hurting my knee, and I was never going to be an NFL player or anything like that. But after 1 year, I came back to the University of Minnesota just to concentrate on my studies and get a degree.
All right, and from also what I read, you started boxing by entering Tough Man contests. Is that what originally got you into boxing?
Yeah. So when I got back from Virginia and I was going to school at home at University of Minnesota, I had been used to playing sports my whole life. Playing football and baseball and whatever else, and playing them competitively, and I was just bored, man. I had nothing to do to kind of fuel my competitive fire, and I found an ad for a tough guy tournament with a buddy of mine one night in my apartment, and we entered that and had some fun. I got my butt whooped the very first fight I was in, but it was fun, and I decided to go back to the boxing gym and actually train, and I did, I think, one more tough man tournament, one or two more, and then I got into amateur boxing and had about 3 year and like a 35 fight amateur career.
Now, from what I read, you can correct me if I'm wrong because not everything on the internet's right, but after a brief amateur career, 3 years, like you talked about, you actually turned pro to try to pay off some student loans?
No, actually what happened was I was getting ready to. I had some success as an amateur, and I went to some national tournaments and won all the regional tournaments here in the Midwest, and I was getting ready to go to Colorado to fight for the USA boxing tournament to kind of qualify for the Olympics, and the amateur boxing body ruled me ineligible to keep on competing because of the fact that I had fought in those tough man tournaments to start, and I didn't know it was illegal, and I didn't get paid or anything like that. But so they ruled I was ineligible, and I wasn't ready to quit boxing. I never really wanted to be a pro boxer because I was in college. I was an amateur boxer. I was almost graduated. I was gonna get a job with my degree, and so I wasn't ready to get be done boxing, and it was either turn pro or be done with the sport, competitively, and it wasn't. I didn't turn pro to pay off my student loans. That was just like my original goal, is to be able to pay off my loans through pro boxing.
All right. So, what do you remember about that professional debut?
Man, it was at the Target Center in a really big car. I think there was like 6,000 people here in Minneapolis, and it was a showbox card that my promoter Tony Greco had put on with Goose and Tudor, I believe, and it was like I said, there was like 6,000 people there. I was nervous, man, and a lot of them were there for me because I had a lot of friends and family at home, obviously, and it was. I fought a guy from St. Paul, Ray Walker, who was tough, but he wasn't the greatest fighter. He was just a debut type of fighter, and I think his record was 1-2 or 2-1 or something like that. And I believe I knocked him out in the second round or third round. And it was a long. Seems like a long time ago. I think it was almost 11 years ago. It seems longer than that now.
Yeah, as you get older, 1987 doesn't seem that long ago to me, but it is. So you go on, you get a long win streak to start your career. Your first loss professionally was to Jermaine Taylor. Did that experience change how you looked at boxing or to maybe the way you approach boxing?
You know, it actually was. It actually boosted my confidence a lot because, like I said, man, I never had really wanted to be a pro boxer. I didn't really know how good I was or anything like that. And I think I was 18-0 or 17-0 when I fought him, and it was my first time on TV, my first fight against a guy that was that good. And Jermaine Taylor was a guy that I followed his career a lot when I was younger, and I used to play with him on fight night and watch him on HBO. So I was a fan of his, and I was fighting him, and I lost, but it went well. And as far as me getting to go the distance with them, I knocked him down, and even though I lost, it gave me some confidence moving forward.
Yeah, and moving forward, you finally get a shot at the middleweight title against Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs, one of the best fighters in the world today. What was your experience like with Jacobs?
That was, I believe, 2015, so about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And that was my first crack at a world title, and it was an awesome experience. I got to fight in Chicago in front of a pretty big crowd, the UIC Pavilion, against Danny Jacobs, who, like you said, man, he's probably a top 10, or he is for sure a top 10 pound for pound guy, I think, right now. And I went to pretty much a distance with him. He didn't knock me down or anything like that. He just the referee jumped in and stopped it. But he was a better man that night. I can't take anything away from him. And I mean, even that also, at first I was bummed out. Obviously, you always want to win a title and win a fight in general when you're in it. But after the fight, he started blowing everybody out. He knocked out Quillen, he knocked out Sergio Mora twice, and I thought he actually beat Triple G when they fought. So, I mean, looking back, it gave me confidence as well that I was hanging in there with one of the best guys in the world.
Yeah, and after that, you fought Darrell, who he knocked you out in one round, which shocked me that it was over that quick. Did you ever doubt that you could pull off what you eventually pulled off after that fight?
Well, man, so that fight, going into that fight, I had some really rough stuff going on outside of the ring. I just wasn't in a good spot mentally. My girlfriend had almost died in childbirth, and she had a stroke and had a brain bleed. So I just wasn't in a good spot mentally, because I knew that that's a type of injury that happens when fighters get when fighters get beat up and go into a coma and stuff like that. So I was thinking about the wrong type of stuff right before the fight, and I wasn't myself, and that's a night that I'd like to erase off my record. That's for sure.
Yeah, is she all right?
Yeah, she's fine now, but after that fight, man, I was thinking about retiring just because of the way I felt going into it. I didn't think I would be mentally able to get over that hurdle, but thankfully I took probably like 2 months off of boxing, didn't even watch it on TV or anything, and kind of lit the fire back in my belly to get back in the gym and talk with my coaches and my promoters and my family to make sure that I was ready to get back in there. And I got back and had a fight. I think a few months after that, and I think I had two fights and an exhibition after the Darrell fight up until this last fight with the Gale. So it's been a long road and with a lot of ups and downs, but obviously the fight with the Gale was a culmination of a lot of hard work and sacrifice and emotion going into the sport.
Yeah, and I would think that nowadays a lot of people put way too much emphasis on a record with a 0 at the end of it. And I would think that getting to fight guys like Jermaine Taylor, Daniel Jacobs, and then everything that happened with the Darrell fight, I mean, you probably, I would think those experiences made it so when you get to the Gale fight that you're ready to win the title finally.
Yeah, man, especially for a guy like me who started late in boxing, and I didn't have like that much amateur experience. I fought in some tournaments and fought some real good guys in national Golden Gloves tournaments and ringside tournaments and USA boxing tournaments, but I never fought any guys from overseas or anything like that. So I just chalked it up as experience, man. And even though it turned out the wrong way, I took bits and pieces from what I did wrong, what I did right, and just chalked it up as experience and used it going forward.
Yeah, and you get to the Gale fight. It's in England. What was the experience in England like for you? I know as an American boxing fan, anytime I could watch one of the cards from there, I mean, they do the stuff right over there. And I know I had a friend of yours, Thomas Triber, on. He was talking about the same thing. And just talk a little bit about how quickly did you get to England before the fight was to start? I mean, did you train there for a few weeks, or you get there the week of?
Yeah. So ideally, I think you'd like to spend like 2 weeks there, maybe. That's a good time. But this fight we got on kind of short notice. I had about 7 weeks to prepare from the day they offered it to me until fight night. So basically 6 weeks to train and 1 week of travel. We got there Monday, the week of the fight, so I had 5 days to get adjusted, or 6 days to get adjusted, whatever it is. And the fans were great, man. Like you said, they do it right. The media is kind of rabid for boxing news. It's different than it is here. It's one of their major sports over there. So it gets a lot of coverage on TV and press and internet, everything. And the boxing fans were great, man. They were knowledgeable, they were respectful, and the atmosphere was awesome. They were going crazy. They were booing me, which is fine. They're cheering their guy even before the fight. A lot of the people on the street and in the boxing gym that I was working out at were just saying, we're cheering our guy on, but we're just hoping for a good fight. So if it's a good fight, we'll respect it. And if you win, then they kept on saying fair play to you. That was one of their slang words, fair play. They always said that. So no, it was a very, very good experience over there.
Yeah, and since you'd had a shot at Jacobs, a shot at Durrell, was there anything in the back of your mind saying this might be my last chance to win a world title?
Absolutely. I approached it as if it was my last shot. I've said in a couple of interviews before, most fighters never get one shot at a world title. I got that, and even fewer get a second shot at a world title. So I approach it as, this is it, man. Like, if I don't win it here, I probably am never going to get another chance to win one. So even though it was a little bit less time than I would have liked to prepare, I always stay in the gym, so I was in pretty decent shape before, and I really, really busted ass for those 6 weeks and did everything right, and just wanted to leave everything in the ring.
So to me, I know we do the Inside Boxing Weekly every week where we pick the fights. And, of course, everybody thought James DeGale was going to win the fight. And one of the guys that was on there with me, John Einreinhofer, it's like the fifth round, and I'm watching the fight. And it looks like that you get DeGale in a little bit of trouble. And I texted him real quick. I said, I know you said this wouldn't be a fight, but you better be watching this. And he texted me back, and he said, I know. It looks like Caleb's going to win the damn thing. And, I mean, to me, it really looked like the fight turned big time in your direction around the fourth or fifth round, and the crowd that's usually going crazy was almost deadly silent the rest of that fight.
Yeah, I started feeling about even back up to even the first round. I think most judges gave him the first round, or I think the first and the second round on the card. But even though I may have lost those rounds on the card, in my mind I was winning the fight. Because I was doing well in the fight because we were fighting at the style of fight that I wanted to fight. He wasn't pushing me back. We weren't in the middle of the ring. I was backing him up, and I knew it was just a matter of time before I got to him and the pressure got to him. So in the third round and the fourth round, I started landing some more shots and getting more punches on target. And then the fifth round, like you said, is I had him hurt. I thought I was going to knock him out. I give him credit for being able to withstand that barrage, because I hit him with some hellacious shots, man. Like I think it was like a 6-punch combination, and every one of them landed flush. And most guys would have went down, but he stayed up and was able to finish around. But after that, it just gave me more confidence, and I kept on rolling because I was able to back him up even more from the sixth round on to the end of the fight.
Now, when the bell rings, I know you felt you'd won the fight, but when you're standing there and Thomas Triber's announcing the decision, you're fighting in his hometown, basically, home country. Was there ever any trepidation that maybe they're going to take this from me?
In my mind, it was a wide enough victory to where they couldn't. Right when the bell rang, I dropped down on my knees because I knew I had it, I didn't think they would. I think there was any way they could do it. And then I hear that first scorecard that Thomas calls. It's 114, and I'm just like, oh no, don't do this to me, please. You can see my reaction, like, come on, man, like just throw my arms. And everybody on my team is the same way. And then I hear the second score, and it's 115, 112. And I knew I had it after that because it's 7 rounds to 5 with the 10-8 round, and obviously there's no way he got a 10-8 round. So I was confident after that. And then he announced and knew, and I'm like, oh my God, man, just joy rushed over me. I dropped down on my knees, and I didn't know. I was a mess. I didn't know what to do.
Well, I think
and then we saw him back at the hotel. He was staying at the hotel, and we were with my coach and my cut man. We were sitting in the lobby having a drink, and Thomas was down there as well. And my coach had Thomas say it again. I recorded, so I'll be listening to that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Facebook a few hours after the fight where Thomas posted it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the thing that's great about boxing. That's why people connected with a movie like Rocky so much. Because guys that you don't think have a chance can sometimes step up and do something. And I think with your age, everything you've learned, I don't think this is going to be just a one-shot deal with you. What are your immediate plans? Are there any talks about maybe a rematch with the Gale or fighting somebody else in the meantime?
There's been talks about a rematch with the Gale already. I think he said he wants it, and I'm open to it for sure. So I think they're going to explore that option in the spring. Yeah, that'll probably be what's next if that's what happens. Man, I came out of that fight. I went into the fight with a ton of confidence, and obviously you win the championship. Now you got even more confidence. So I was 100% healthy when I came out. I just left the gym today before you called me, and I'm back in the gym already, ready to roll. And I know I got a lot of work to do to get better because now the target's on my back, and if I fight the Gale, he's going to be hungrier and wanting his title back. So I got to be even better now, and I plan on keeping it for a little while.
Now, is there anything in the back of your mind that says I want to get Darrell back in the ring and show him that he's not better than me?
Yeah, man, I'm a competitive person, so I would love to fight anybody again that I had lost to. Taylor. Obviously, Taylor's not fighting anymore, but Jacobs or Darrell, I'd love to get a chance to erase those losses on my record, and we'll see if it happens. Obviously, Darrell is still in the same division, and he's still up at the top, so that's a good possibility, I imagine, in the future.
All right, so I know you guys had a party Sunday. What was it like returning home as the new IBF super middleweight champion?
It's been great, man. Everybody's been awesome. The media has been awesome back here. My family, my friends, they've supported me throughout my whole journey, and it's just awesome to celebrate with people that have been there since day one. When I'm making $1,000 a fight, back in the day, and they still are always at my fights and still supporting me to the fullest. So it feels great to be able to share the moment with them.
All right, Caleb. I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got more people that probably want to pat you on the back, right?
Yeah, I think so, man.
But you can never have enough people do that. So I would love to have you, when you sign your next fight, to have you on to talk about that also.
Sure thing, Mike. Just give me a call, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Tell Thomas I said what's up, and tell him I'm gonna. Next time he's gonna announce and still. So hopefully he's the announcer next time around too.
Well, if it's the Gale, I'm sure he probably will be, because it sounds like he's in with Frankie Warren pretty good, and Thomas is a damn good ring announcer.
Oh, he's awesome. I met him in Chicago I think he did a few shows of mine in Chicago, so we go back a little ways, and he's a Midwest guy, so it's all love whenever I see him.
All right, Caleb, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Guys, that was Caleb Truax, the new IBF super middleweight champion of the world. Tonight we'll be live at 9:30 with James Buddy McGirt, so make sure you check that out. Also, you can catch all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for super middleweight champion Caleb Truax, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.